all, this is Halloween, and today we are going to be doing Johnny Depp's version of the Mad Hatter from Tim Burton's 2010 version of Alice in Wonderland. A favorite every single year. I'm telling you, every Halloween that I've gone out and somebody's done this, they've won buku bucks in costume contests and things like that. So I'm excited to show you how I'm going to do it today. Let's get started. I'm going to be doing things a little differently this time. We're doing the Mad Hatter. Of course, as you can see here, just from what I've got here, you could probably already tell that we're doing Tim Burton's version of the Mad Hatter as depicted by Johnny Depp in 2010's Alice in Wonderland. The Mad Hatter is probably one of the most versatile characters that you can do, stemming all the way back to 1865 when Lewis Carroll had his Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. There's probably been about, I don't know, hundreds of different versions of the Mad Hatter. This one in particular is very colorful, very patterned, very mad. So we're going to be doing a little bit at a time. You're going to need to watch the entire video to just see how I do it before you go out and start getting pieces for it. These two parts here are the parts I've chosen to start out with. This is going to be the Mad Hatter's sash that goes around his hat, and we're going to do his bow tie. Now this isn't, obviously it's not the exact pattern that the bow tie was for the Mad Hatter, but I picked something that was close, and it's close enough to where people will get the point, you know? So it's got the spots on it that are kind of all different colors and kind of wild and crazy. I have some fringe, which is gonna go on the end of the sash, and as you can see, it's white. I don't want it to be white. This actually I already had, believe it or not. This was sewn on to a bra that I was making because I was going to do burlesque a long time ago with a friend of mine, Winterbauer. Didn't work out, but I had kept the bra for a long time. I literally threw the bra in the garbage with the fringe and everything on it yesterday. So I just went digging through my trash to get it back so I could take the fringe off of it to use it for this costume. It wasn't too bad of trash, thank God. I didn't do like a fridge clean out or anything. It was mostly just, you know, paper and stuff. Thank goodness. But so all was well. Now you're gonna want to get some fringe for the end of your sash, or if you don't get it, it's completely optional. I want it because it's what the Mad Hatter had. When you do get fringe, when you cut it, it's going to fray. Like right away, it'll start fraying. All you have to do is put a little hot glue on the end and fold it over, and it won't fray anymore. So since this is obviously white, I want it to be more the color of this material, which is kind of like a rust color. My mom taught me a trick years ago. You can actually dye things using tea. So I have some steeped black tea in this container here, and I want it to be kind of like that color, and it's kind of like a tea color. So I'm going to put the fringe into the tea and just let it stain, basically, to get it the color that I want it to be. And then I'm probably just going to let it air dry. So that's the first thing I want to do, because that's going to take a little bit of time for it to penetrate those fringe. Cover that up and let that do its thing. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this material. Now, this is not material. It's actually one of those really long body pillowcases, but it was the color that I wanted. It was about the material that I wanted, like a satiny material. So I bought it for $3 at Goodwill, which is probably less than what you would pay for a yard of material that looks like that at Joann. So I'm gonna get started on that. I've got to cut it into a long strip. What I'm probably gonna do is take some photographs of my progress on that as I'm doing it. I'm going to need to sew the edges as well, just to have a neater edge. Other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. What I think I actually have here, after observing the piece, is a table runner. So it's a really pretty color, almost the exact color, I think, Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter material on his hat. This is more of a rust, but it's definitely the satin that we need. So since this is a table runner, it's got a perfect edge all the way around, and it's very nicely sewn. All I'm going to do is cut right up through the middle in a straight line, and I'm just going to sew the end, just sew the one side because all the rest of it's sewn up very nicely. So kind of cuts my work in half. I'm loving it. I will show you pictures along the way. All right, I have the piece cut in half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it inside out, and I'm going to sew all the way up until I'm about a foot or so to the end, just enough to put my hand through the material. And then I'm going to finish that foot of material just by tucking it and sewing it. Simple stitch. See how long it is? I love it because we're going to be wrapping it around the hat. So you're going to need a bit of material for this one. I would go with, maybe a couple of yards just to be on the safe side. If you do buy material, if you find something like this at the thrift store, which you very possibly could, this kind of stuff is everywhere. So you just need enough to where you'll be able to wrap it around the hat and tie it, and you still have parts hanging off, just like his hat was. So for the bow tie material, I bought 1 yard of material because the fabric is always doubled. So it's going to be plenty of material to make our bow tie. So what I'm going to do, I want to just cut this in half. I'm not going to go all the way through to the other side, but just the top layer, I'm going to cut in half here. It's already in half, and then I want it halved again. But don't cut through to the second layer, even if you have to stretch out your material, just so that you don't make an oopsie and cut through the second layer. You're just gonna cut the top layer in half. As you can see, I got the end of the fabric that says Joanne. I'm just gonna trim that off. I now have the material trimmed, and what I wanna do is I'm gonna do a simple stitch and make a nice smooth edge on the end. I'll just pin it and go ahead and start stitching on this side and on the other side. Then what we're gonna do is we're going to fold it like this, and we're going to take these two pieces here and meet them and stitch the inside, and then flip it the other way, and we're gonna gather it in the middle to create the bow tie. I might cut a little bit off. It looks like it might be a little too big. I'm gonna cut probably a little bit off. I cut off about 6 inches. It was just way too big. So the way you can check that is you're just going to fold it like you're going to be where you're gonna be sewing it. You just gather it with your hands right through the middle. That's about the size that we want. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We're just more or less making a sleeve, and then we're gonna gather it through the middle. It'll make a really nice looking bow. So I'm gonna get to sewing. Simple stitch on either side just to give it a nice straight edge, and then I will show you my progress. work on our hat. Now the hat that I purchased was about $40 on eBay. The only problem with it is that it's just not quite tall enough. I want it to be a bit taller. I saved these great pieces of styrofoam, and I think I'm gonna just cut them and cover the styrofoam with felt, because the whole hat's gonna be covered with material anyway. So I just wanna make it a bit taller. I'm gonna probably use 2 of these. I got another one in the shed, but it looks like this one's a little damaged. Wouldn't matter anyway, but so I'm just gonna stack these on top of each other. I'm probably gonna cut them actually one at a time. And then I'm gonna cover, I'll be gluing it to the top of the hat and then glue the other one once I have it cut. On top of that, obviously I'm gonna cut around in the shape of a hat as well, just to make it a bit taller. Our hat is complete. It was a piece of work, but it is all finished. We did put a peacock feather in there as well. And it's done. Now time to start working on the jacket. We are at the jacket part of this process, and as you can see, it's a lot. So I bought a jacket from the thrift store for $9. I liked the shape of it. It's fitted, it goes a little bit longer. I wanted to have a pattern on my jacket. That's entirely up to you. This is such a versatile costume. You can literally almost buy anything. There are like 150,000 versions of the Mad Hatter. We're just doing the Johnny Depp version as true to the real thing as possible as we can today. So I've got a little brooch that I already had. I bought a bunch of spools of thread. It was like $3 at Michael's, 3 something. I bought 2 packages of those so we can make he's got spools of thread going from one side of his jacket to the other. We're gonna make that ourselves. And I had a few at home, so I'm gonna add those in. I have random ribbon, and they sell this at Michael's for like $6, I think, around there. I already had some twine. This was a colored twine that I really kind of liked. I'm gonna add on some buttons. I'm gonna be adding on cuffs to this jacket, brown cuffs. I think I'm going to cover the lapel in brown. It's like a brown faux suede, which I got on sale. I lucked out at Joann's. It was in the remnants section. So it's where they're selling just a bunch of random stuff that they couldn't get rid of for really cheap. I don't remember how much I paid for it, but I don't think that's the right price on there. But it's a good amount of material I got for really cheap. So that was great. I bought this scarf from the thrift store. I think it was like $1. I bought these from Michael's, which we're gonna use. We're gonna tie these onto the large safety pin and clip it to the jacket, and it'll look really cool. I think I may even make faux pocket, and the plan is to line any of the faux suede brown embellishments that I add with this gold cord that I bought that's also on the hat. Let's get started. As you can see, I've taken everything off the jacket just to show you what the plan is. I'm gonna cover the lapel with the brown faux suede. The pockets are hidden pockets. This is a woman's jacket, a lady's jacket, and the pockets you cannot even see. So I want to add like a pocket flap so that it looks like there's pockets on the front, like would be on a men's jacket. And then I'm going to add cuffs to both of these sleeves. So that's the plan. We're going to do that, and I'll take pictures of the progress. Looks like we have about 2 yards of material here. So I'm going to cut along the bottom in pretty much a straight line. I'll show you the pattern in the photographs as we go along, what kind of pattern that I used for the cuffs. We'll go ahead and do the cuffs first, then we'll do the faux pockets, and then we'll cover up the lapel. Now we're gonna work on the pants. I've got a pinstriped black pants. I believe they're probably maternity pants because they actually have a stretchy waist on there, but whatever, it doesn't matter. They're exactly what I needed, so I bought them, and they're gonna fit regardless, right? So they were $4, $3.95 at the thrift store. Now they go all the way down to my ankles. I want them shorter, so I'm gonna cut them into pedal pushers or capri pants, and then we're gonna be adding kind of like a little bell bottom to it. But I'll take progress shots as we go along. I'm gonna work on the shirt now. So I got this shirt for $6.95 at the thrift store. I only bought it for the color. Obviously, it's not a great looking shirt, but the color's perfect. I will be ironing it, obviously, before I wear it. But all I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a lace ruffle to the cuff of the shirt. And that's all I'm gonna do with this, because it's not gonna really, you're not gonna see much of it with the costume. Just a little bit up around the neck and maybe some on the chest. This is the vest that I got. We're not doing anything to it. It's perfect. It's actually one of those backless wedding vests. Found it at the thrift store for $5, $4.98 to be exact. And we're not doing anything to this. I just wanted you to see what I got. I like the fact that it was double-breasted. It had a wild pattern on it. And these are always styled kind of vintage. So I liked that about it. So that's why I purchased this. And this is the rest of the costume. I bought these shoes at Goodwill for $6.96, which was a great deal. They're the perfect shoes. They're like a little brown boot, just like his in the movie. I bought these socks online. I think these were actually $12. I got them on eBay. But I wanted a very specific colors in my stripes on my socks. I wanted green, I wanted purple, yellows, and things like that. And I found the perfect ones, eBay. And then lastly, I bought this from the thrift store for the material. I'm going to be making fingerless gloves out of this material. And this was only $5. So there's a lot of pieces to this costume, but you may have some of this stuff at home. When I go to the thrift store to look for costume materials, that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm looking for costume materials, specific patterns, specific ways something's made, things like that. I'm gonna cut this up and just use it for the material, and it's perfect. He had a brown plaid pattern fingerless glove on, and I'm gonna make that out of this, and I'll show you the progress shots. Good grief. I've been sitting here for like 2 hours trying to put these contact lenses in, and they're still not quite right because I've got an air bubble in one, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to do this anyway. For the costume, I purchased Sclera lenses. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they're big contact lenses, as you can see, big green contact lenses. They were not cheap. They were about $89. And so I was determined to get these lenses in because I wasn't going to pay $89 and then not use them. So now we're going to do our makeup. Now that I'm really, I'm all irritated now. In my eye, the one that keeps getting an air bubble, it's definitely irritated. I'm using my own hair. I just used sponge curlers. I slept in them overnight, and I teased up my hair to be about the shape I wanted it to be. I added in this awesome stuff I found at Michael's. It's called Craft Fluff. And I'm gonna make my eyebrows with that stuff too. It's pretty cool. So to answer all your questions about Sclera lenses, are they expensive? Yes. Are they uncomfortable? Yes. Do they hurt? Absolutely. When you're putting them in. And they take forever to put in. Are they hard to put in? Yes. So I recommend, if you are going to get Sclera lenses, or any lenses really, watch a video on how to do it if you don't normally wear lenses. Even if you do normally wear lenses, they're probably not this kind. So just watch a quick video on it. Make sure you're doing it right, because there is a right and a wrong way to do it. You'll be in there for hours trying to put them in, and after about the second hour tonight, I finally watched a video myself. So I couldn't remember how I did it before. So I had definitely worn these before, but tonight was really, really bad. I've still got one that's not in correctly, but whatever, we're gonna go on. I have glued my eyebrows down. And like I said, I did my hair on sponge curlers and put some of that cool stuff in there. And it worked out great. Teased it up, sprayed it. I did spray it too with orange spray. It's just that it didn't get as orange as I wanted it to. And I actually colored my hair for this one with a temporary color, and it went too dark. I couldn't find one in orange, so I went with a red, and the red is like a burgundy red. So there's that. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe my face. I've already got my sponge damp, and I've got my Ben Nye Cloud White, and I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. Time to get some more. This covers so well. You're gonna wanna go over your eyelashes too with this so that your eyelashes will look white. His were white in the movie. So you've seen me do this 1,000 times. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe my face, and then we'll get to the rest of the makeup. I've whitened my face. I'm also gonna do my hands, but I'm gonna wait till last to do my hands. So, Johnny Depp had blue on the upper lid and purple underneath. And that's what we're gonna do. Tammix Revolution palette from Target. Has a lot of colors in it. I've talked about this one before. You know, I didn't really buy it for the quality. I just bought it for, you know, all the different colors. I'm gonna use this blue for the top, my top lid. I'm gonna leave the very bottom of my lid white. That's how his was in the movie. So, I always watch the movie first, just to, you know, get all the little details. If you'll notice when we were creating the costume, all those little details are included. The little gloves he was wearing, the socks, the exact shoes, as close as I could get, everything. So I did go down on my lid while I was talking, not paying attention. That's okay, because I'm going to use a little white pencil on it, and it'll be good. All good. Looking pretty good. One thing I don't like about the glue, when you glue your eyebrows down, is that it does kind of affect the eyeshadow a little bit. You got to just work harder to blend it. That's what we're going to go for on the upper lid. And then on the bottom lid, underneath, we're doing purple. I'm going to use, I think, this purple right here. All the way in the other corner. Looks like the right purple. Because I went down on my lid, I've got one of these white grease pencils, and I'm just going to go over my lid with it. That's what we're wanting our eyes to look like. The upper lid, anyway. Have a paper towel next to you so you can wipe it off. Get that sharp white back. That's what we're doing. Now, I cut off pieces of that stuff I'm going to use for my eyebrows. It's going to be awesome. So, we're going to spirit gum those to our eyebrow there. Like I said, there's 1,000,001 ways to do the Mad Hatter. So many versions. When I was looking online, there's really no wrong way to do the Mad Hatter. You just got to be mad. You've got to look mad. You've got to look wild and crazy. And I've also researched how much money these costumes cost, and the female costumes, like the little dresses, they run about 40 bucks on average. It's just your typical costume in a bag with the little fascinator hat, and about 40 bucks. The male ones go all the way up to $139. Shoes, socks, hat not included, gloves not included, nothing like that. It's basically just the jacket, a vest, the shirt underneath, tie, and that's pretty much it. The pants. And the pants I wasn't impressed with at all. Takes a lot to impress me with a costume, though. You know, I think if you spend that kind of money, it should be all-inclusive. It should include everything. I didn't want to get a wig because at one point I did have a wig. Actually, this is the second time I'm doing the Hatter. It's not the second time I'm doing it. The first time I did it for my son. I never wanted to do the Hatter. And the reason why is everybody does it. Literally, I went to costume contests before I started doing this. I'd go every year. And there was always like 15,000 Mad Hatters in the bunch. I wanted to be something different. So the year my son was the Mad Hatter, I was the Red Queen. That's who I wanted to be. And I made that costume. Now I may show you how to do that one eventually one of these days, but it took a lot of work, and my being stupid, I got rid of it. You know, I went out and won some contests, and then I got rid of the costume. I wasn't planning on ever doing a YouTube channel. That thought never crossed my mind. You know, if I could have started years ago, which I couldn't because I didn't have any money, and you need equipment and stuff. We're doing the under eyes now. But I also moved a lot. I couldn't, you know, feasibly take all of these items with me to the next location. So I had to constantly get rid of stuff. I still constantly get rid of stuff. It's necessary when you have a lot of stuff to always be getting rid of stuff. So I may take another purple. It's just the one right above it. That one's not showing up very good. How are we doing? Pretty good? I think it looks pretty good. I mean, it's not supposed to look perfect. We are mad. So yeah, when I did the costume for my son, I pretty much did it the same way I'm showing you how to do it. And the way I did it for myself. Went out and found him a jacket that looked kind of like the jacket I wanted, and made it look like the jacket that I wanted. But anyway, what I was going to say is, for everything that we made together, that I made on this video, it was $100 for everything. Everything. The only thing that cost more were these crazy lenses, which, you know, they're great, but I've got an air bubble in one right now. I just had to get it going. You know, I had to get it going. It's late at night now, and my son's gonna come over and take my pictures, but I just had to get with it. You know, I spent hours trying to put the contacts in, ended up messing up my eye. It's all dry now. But if you just go ahead and watch a YouTube video on how to put those in, you won't have the problems that I had. I just should have done that first, but I thought I was going to be a superstar and get them in just fine without the video. But, you know, after the 50th or 100th attempt, I was like, I got to watch a video. You know, I just could not do it. Off camera, I'm just going to do the other eye, just like I did this eye. And then I think we're going to put our eyebrows on. That'll be awesome. I have my eyes done. Now I'm going to glue these eyebrows on. I made out of this weird fluff stuff with some spirit gum adhesive. Put some on my brow where I want it. Let it get gummy. I'm going to put it on the other brow too, so I can go ahead and do its thing. Spirit gum you can get anywhere. I mean, it's pretty much all the same. Ben Nye has it. Mayoran has it. Even the cheap brands, you know, are fine, because it's just, all it is just glue that you can use on your face. So this is just a cheap one. Came with something, I don't know. So here's the brows I made. What? That's so crazy. And I can trim them. I'm gonna trim this. It's a little wild. I think that looks pretty good, huh? Are we looking mad? Almost there. Almost there. Here's another one. I just took it and kind of shaped it a little bit with my hands and just put it on there. I'm gonna trim it when it's on there. I am using my fabric scissors because this is fabric, so. How does that look? I can't see very well. Huh. It's just because I put my contacts in wrong, you know, well, one of them's in wrong, and it's been hard to see. All right, so that's my eyebrows. Now I'm gonna do a blush. And the blush is kind of like a purple color. I have to kind of reshape my face. I have a round face. He had a, well, let's just face it, Johnny Depp has a beautiful bone structure. And I think I'm gonna use this sort of purplish color here in the palette for that. It's kind of purple, but it's also kind of mauve. So I want it to be real shaped. So I'm going to use this card to sort of shape it. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Obviously, I've got two cheeks. You guys see where I'm going with that? It's going to shape my face. Once I have that top line, I'm just going to go down. It's like a really rosy cheek, but it's also very shaped, I notice. I watched the video, or the movie, and it's gonna give my face a shape too. just like that. And then we're gonna do the same thing, obviously, to the other side. I'm gonna do that off camera. Another thing Johnny Depp had was white Twiggies. If you don't know what Twiggies are, I've talked about her before. Twiggy was a supermodel back in the 60s. She became very famous for making fake lashes on her bottom lid in black. And that's why well, that's not why she's called Twiggy, but she's called Twiggy, I think, because she was so slim. But I took my cream makeup, Ben Nye, and I've just taken one of these awesome things, and I'm making the little Twiggies underneath. He's wearing lipstick in the movie, so it's just kind of like a pinkish purple, so we're gonna do the same. How do I look? Mad? All right, we are almost there. I'm gonna wipe my hands, probably off camera. I think we look pretty good. I'm gonna try and figure out a way to get a gap between my teeth. Just for tonight, I think I might use the liquid liner. Hopefully it's not poisonous. Just paint a little gap between my teeth. I meant to buy some blackout. They have some tooth stuff where you can paint your teeth, you know, to black them out and stuff, but I didn't get around to it. I've been a busy girl this week. So let me do that. I think it worked. I just used a liquid liner on my teeth. I dried them and then put the liquid liner and let it dry, and it worked. What? Couldn't be happier. Whited my hands. Now I noticed on his joints they're just like red, like his hands are in distress because he's been working so hard on his hats. So I'm just like doing that on my hands. You don't have to, it's optional. With one of these grease pencils, that's how I'm gonna do mine. I am pleased despite all the turmoil with the contact lenses. I should have just watched the video, but I didn't, so my fault. I'll take the blame for that one. So there's my hands. Another thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna tape a thimble to one of my fingers because he had thimbles taped, you know, on his fingers. So I'm gonna tape a thimble. If you have two, I'd use a couple, but I'm just gonna use the one for tonight. And I'm gonna get dressed and I'll see you in a minute. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. It was a lot of work, I know, but a lot of hard work yields a great result. And a very merry birthday to you. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. if you loved this, because there's plenty more coming up. Also wanted to mention that there are so many things you can do with Alice in Wonderland. We're going to have a lot of those things coming up as well. Different characters from Alice in Wonderland. If you're going to these parties that they're having later in the year, you're going to want to tune in. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.